Shalom everyone, Grand Rising, blessed new day to you all. I've been asking my friends and families what type of content you guys would like to see from me, and a lot of you guys said you would like to see more about our homeschool journey, our homeschool curriculum, and just how we go about homeschool. I know everyone does it differently depending on their family's core values and beliefs. So a little bit about our family. We have a 4-year-old son, and Solzen is in pre-K, and I feel like pre-K is like the fine line between preschool and kindergarten. So you're not just a beginner when it comes to learning your alphabets and things like that, but not quite ready for kindergarten just yet. So pre-K is kind of like that in between where you're prepping the child for kindergarten and just giving them that head start so that way they're a bit ahead of the curriculum before they start kindergarten. So that's what we've been working on now, making sure that our 4-year-old is learning how to read, learning how to write, and just preparing him for his best kindergarten homeschool year. And even though our children are homeschooled, we do follow the guidelines and teach them all that they should know as far as their core basics. We do have our state standard that show us, where our child should be, everything they should learn in this school year. We still teach our children the basics and everything they need to learn, but we also teach them about positive character traits. We also teach them the truth about their education, about our history, about where we come from as a people. And we also teach them about agriculture, permaculture. Our family has a small garden where our children have all grown their own fruits and vegetables and taking care of their plants. We have cooking classes that we do here. We also have art classes that we go to. And I would say once or twice a week we do field trips where we'll go to the library, we'll go to museums. So we make sure that although our children are homeschooled, that they have a very active social life. And I like to joke around and say that my kids have more friends than I do, because there's just this negative connotation that homeschool children are, awkward and isolated. We really wanted to make sure that homeschooling wasn't taking anything away from our children's childhood, and that they have a very broad, expansive learning experience, not just restricted to learning things in one classroom surrounded by people they don't know, but getting them used to the world that we live in. With younger children especially, I have 2 sons, so they're very active. They have a lot of energy, a lot of testosterone, and one good way that our family likes to utilize that energy is to take them outside, take them hiking, get them involved in sports and extracurricular activities where they can use all that movement and that energy that they have. I personally don't think it's good for boys or men to stay in one spot for a long period of time, be really able to be themselves, and if they want to actually socialize with a friend, they're not allowed to. So I just have a plethora of reasons why I know that homeschooling is the best route for my children's education, but that doesn't excuse the fact that there is a lot of work on me and my husband's end as we navigate this journey. I'm sure there are a lot of other parents who are new to homeschooling that just have no idea how to go about it, may feel like it's the best thing for their family, but could use a little bit more insight in seeing representation, a positive representation of people who look like us doing it. On these platforms, I see a lot of mothers who have a lot of money, a huge setup, and can just grant their children with luxury classrooms in their houses and things like that, whereas though our family, we're on a budget, we're in a society that is currently just collapsing, going off the Richter, and a lot of things have changed over the past few years. So sometimes it's easy to slip into the illusion that you're not doing enough for your children, or because your life doesn't look like everyone else's lifestyle that's being promoted, that you may feel less than. I really felt like it was important to come on here to you guys and just represent, share, and show that you really don't need a lot when it comes to homeschooling. The safety, the security, and knowing that your child is growing up with core values that you've instilled to them and not strangers. And this isn't to take away from parents who do decide to send their kids to school or public schools like that, because I was in public school, my husband was in public school, and although we personally didn't like it, we do understand that not everyone is able to homeschool their children, and we actually look at this opportunity as a really big blessing for our family. So without further ado, I wanted to talk to you guys about our homeschool flow, how we go about things, and how I'm able to manage homeschooling two children who are very young and who are also boys. If you're a boy mom or you've just seen how little boys operate, you know that they are absolutely feral, crazy. And I think it's just because they have a lot of testosterone. They have a lot of hormones pumping through their body, especially at such a young age. So you really want to hone in on that. You want to hone in on those creative juices, that creativity, and utilize them. Create activities that help them with their fidgety hands, or if you have a child that likes to throw things or destroy things, create an activity where they can throw something or they can smash something, and that makes them feel empowered. Because especially with younger children, it can be a lot of, no, don't do this, don't do that, don't touch this, don't touch that. We really want to focus on creating safe spaces for the children to play, safe activities where they can do the things that they want to do. So starting with our 1-year-old Mars, he'll actually be 2 in a couple months, so he's around that 20-month mark. This is actually a very difficult phase for me. You know how they talk about the terrible twos? I saw for myself that when a child turns 2 years old, okay, it's just a lot. They're exploring the new world under new eyes, and they're just going through growing pains, and it's hard for them. And a lot of things they want to do, they can't really communicate because they're still so young. So as for our 1-year-old, he does like to just rummage through the cabinets and rummage through the drawers. And I saw one of these activities on, I don't know, Instagram, TikTok or something, and I thought to create my own. Went out to the dollar store and got a couple of these bins to create some sensory bins for him. And with these sensory bins, you know, children who are under the age of 2, they're all about sensory. They're all about touch, how things feel, how things sound, all about the 5 senses. So we have, for our first sensory bin, we have a bin with some mixed beans. And this can be used for a couple different activities. Now he's very fixated on picking up the beans, dropping them into the different cups. So we have some measuring cups in here. And this whole thing cost me like $5, cheaper than most toys you can pick up for kids his age. And he really likes it. It takes up some of his time. His little quick hands have something to do. The beans are smooth, and the sound of it I don't know, it just does something to the children. You do have to watch them, obviously monitor them the whole time, making sure that they're not putting it in their mouth. And I also made sure to get a couple different colors when he gets a little older and we get into color sorting, because kids, they have like a short attention span. So, you know, do an activity, and once you see they start to throw it in things, okay, move on, have another activity ready for them. And as you guys are going to notice that a lot of our activities are cheap, crafty. That's how I like to get down. I don't like to spend a whole lot of money on kids' toys, because I made the mistake and fell into the trap of buying my kids toys just to see them end up not playing with them at the bottom of their toy box. And I don't know, it's just, you can really waste money with kids. So when it comes to making crafty little activities like these, I never mind. If it gets ruined, I mean, it's trash anyway. But to be honest, these are cool and fun activities that your child may like. So this is an egg carton. I got some popsicle sticks. So simple. And what I did was I made little slits in them. And you tell the child, put the popsicle in the egg carton. Put the popsicle in the egg carton. And the child will feel for the hole and put it in. And when they get a little older, you can actually color code these, and the egg slit can be red. Put the red popsicle in the red slit, and that way it advances the activity as they grow. This is just a cute, fun little activity. Like I said, you can also color code them depending on where your child is. Right now, mine is just getting into the world of learning how to talk and destroying everything. So children also like to problem solve. So when I first gave it to him to put in, he didn't know there was a hole or what he was doing. But when he found that there was a hole, it was like, oh, let me. And then the way I slit the holes, you have to just finagle it to get it in there. So it helps with their fine motor skills with their hands and your fingers. And developing your children's motor skills is good early on, especially if you want them to be great writers and people who work well with their hands. And I have boys, so we're raising kings, we're raising handymen who can just do it all, okay? Very important that for kids who are touchy-feely, you know, have like sensory problems or just have very enlightened with their senses, it's good to have activities that help to open that up for them. And we have one more sensory bin for now, and I want to create more of these, but I thought that this was cute. Mars really likes trucks. I thought that this was cute, a cute little box, and if you open it up, you will see that I have a bunch of little manipulatives for the child to play with. And basically these is just some random things that children love. And we have some decoration that makes noise. And this is gold. It's shiny, it's shimmery, it's loud. This is toddler approved. Some pipe cleaners right here, all different textures. We have one that's really soft like an animal, and we have some that feel like Christmas garland, and we have some, you know, regular pipe cleaners. So as far as sensory, there's a lot going on in here, and it's a lot for the child to feel on. And we also have some pom-poms right here. So yeah, a bunch of little manipulatives for the child to play with. These little blocks, they connect. We use these for counting for souls in. We use them a lot in preschool to help him learn how to count. I don't know if you guys remember these from school. We have so many of them. So yeah, for a 2-year-old, we basically just do a lot of activities. Hands-on activities. He plays in the dirt. He plays in the water. He plays in the leaves. It is fall, so it's a good time for outdoor play, exploration, especially before it gets into winter. So as for our 4-year-old Solzen, who is currently in homeschool pre-kindergarten, he is learning how to read. And this is a very fun and exciting time for myself. Right now we have some of these letter sounds flashcards. You can pick some up or you can make your own. I got this pack of index cards for 50 cents. So it was very simple to make my own. I didn't even use them all. But basically these are letter sounds flashcards. And what you want to do is, now that your child has learned how to identify letters, he already knows that this is A, that's B, that's C. You want to expand on the letter sounds and taking into a lot of consideration and teaching the child how each letter sounds. And when you teach the child how to pronounce the letter, the child is then able to pronounce any word. And the way that this works is, once the child understands that A sounds like ah, or A, they can eventually learn how to put the letters together to read. This is why I am not too fond on introducing children how to read just with flashcards. This is the way that they teach children how to read in public schools. They don't really have a strong emphasis on teaching children how to read phonetically, and this is why a lot of children don't know how to read nowadays. And this is, I would say this is an older school practice. I don't see them really practicing this in the kindergarten curriculum anymore. But you want to sound the letter out. Ah, t, t. Ah, t. Ah, t. You want the child to really be able to sound that letter out. And what this phonics board does is it pairs all of the letters in the alphabet with each vowel. And if your child can master the phonics board and how to pronounce small 2-letter words, they will then be able to move on to bigger letter words. So I'm not sure if you guys can see it so clearly. I'm going to see if I can hold it up a little closer. But as you guys can see here, we have the vowels. A, E, I, O, U. Next to the vowels down here, we have the letters of the alphabet. All the letters except for the vowels. So you're going to teach the child how to read by teaching them how to pronounce these quick 2-letter sounds. For example, you would say, okay, now what does this say? And the child would go b, b, ah. And then you would, of course, help them out and guide them. Ba, d, ah, da, f, ah, fa, g, ah. And one of the amazing things that happens after the child learns how to pair these quick word and vowels together, they can move on to pronouncing bigger words on their own. This is why I am not a fan on just showing flashing words in front of the children's faces just for them to hurry up and memorize those words. Obviously, they're going to memorize the words just based off of memorization, and this is what they teach you in public school. But you really want the child to have learn to have an understanding on their own. That way they can teach themselves how to read. I'm hoping that's making sense to you guys. Please let me know if you would like me to elaborate more on our phonics board, or if you just need more of an in-depth explanation. I feel like I explained it pretty well, but maybe I could explain it a little better than that. So if you guys would like me to elaborate more on that, just let me know. But these are one of the core things that we're using to help our kindergartner or our pre-kindergartner learn how to read. And to be honest, if there's any one thing that you can do to advance your child, to help them succeed in all areas of life, read to them. I know it sounds a little cliche, and I know it's like this thing that may slip a lot of people's mind, but reading to your child 10-15 minutes a day makes a dramatic difference on how quickly they will learn how to read, how quickly they will learn how to identify words. Another thing with homeschooling is that reading is an outlet for socialization. A lot of people don't realize that. So the child is also learning social cues when they're reading books. If you have books on sharing, they're learning how to share. If you have books on giving or receiving or playing or having a hard time or using the potty, the child is also learning things from these books as well. So be very mindful of the books that you're reading your child, whether you go to the library to get your books or whether you buy your books and have a library at home. It does not matter. You want to read to your child every single day, even if it's for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. The longer, obviously, the better. But we're talking about younger children who are 1 year old and 4 years old. So they're not really at that phase of reading novels and just taking hours to read books. They're not there yet. When we read, we probably read for about 5-8 minutes a day, and that's really all you need. That little bit goes a long way. The child will get familiar with learning how to sit down and taking that time to give you their attention. That's hard to teach a child to sit down in one place. It's hard to teach a child to even grasp their attention, to sit long enough to absorb the information that you're getting out. But it takes practice. If you're not used to reading to your child every day, don't pull out a book and expect for them to just sit there and listen to you read, especially if they're not used to it. So if you're wanting to read to your child more, if you're wanting them to sit down through stories and through longer stories, which you should be, there are studies that have been done that why reading is so beneficial for children. But we are currently living in a society where a lot of children, their attention spans, especially because of these phones and electronics, is so short. So it's harder to get the child to sit down and read a story, especially from you. You're not animated and super fast, and you're not like these cartoons, you know what I'm saying? So they got a real grasp on their attention, and you're competing with them. So when you're reading to your child, you want to make sure that you're also animated, and you sound exciting, and you sound inviting, and oh my god, look at this. Did you know that this was like this? I didn't know. And in the mornings, during our morning circle time, I have this children's Bible book. And sorry, it's upside down. This is a children's Bible book. It has very beautiful illustrations for the children of the major stories in the Bible. And it's just fun, interactive, brings learning to life, brings a visual, like a cute visual, kid-friendly learning to the Bible. And in our household, we love God. We put the Most High before everything that we do. And I really think it's important to teach my children early on to develop that relationship with God, to know who He is, and yeah, just to call on Him, especially in times of need, when mommy can't get to you, Baba can't get to you, the Most High got you. And I think it's important to teach children because they have that inner knowing and understanding of who God is. But when they're constantly seeing you reading your Bible, or you reading the Bible books to them, it really just puts the emotion with the visuals and just helps them strengthen that relationship with God early on. I already know that with children, they're going to venture out and do their own things. They're going to become kids, teenagers, and into the adult world. So having that relationship with God early on is really going to help them when it comes to navigating life. In pre-K, we are slowly teaching our child how to count to 100. Right now, he's getting to like 20, 25 before he starts to lose track and mess up, but that's okay. That's why, we take your time, and when you take your time while you're teaching, you make sure that the child really grasps the information and digests it instead of just flashing it and teaching them how to memorize things quickly like we were taught in school. As our curriculum with math and writing goals, we do have some basic workbooks, and you can order these online. I got these from Amazon. And these are some kindergarten, pre-K workbooks, and they have all of the core curriculum subjects in them: math, reading, writing. Some science projects are in here, letter identification, number, color identification. Just a really big step up from our preschool learning curriculum. Learning patterns, learning how to count money is going to be something that we're going to be introducing to our 4-year-old in this phase of our homeschool journey. As far as math, there's a ton of different activities that we do on a normal basis when it comes to things. Like when we're out, I'll say, Susan, count how many tires this car has, or count this, count that. Or what number is this? What number is that? Especially if it's big numbers, I'll challenge him on big numbers sometimes. But yeah, so math isn't something that I'm stressing too much early on. We'll probably get deeper into that once we get into kindergarten and first grade. But we do simple things for our math. And for writing, I think writing is really important for kids, especially we're in a day and age where writing is one of those skills that's not being prioritized, especially when it comes to electronics nowadays. So we're still a little old school and just making sure that the child has decent penmanship and that they're knowing how to write all of their letters, writing their name. And like I said, my child is not there just yet when it comes to go ahead and write your name or go ahead and write this and that. But we do a lot of repetition, tracing letters, tracing shapes, just getting him really familiar with writing. And yeah, so as far as writing, I really just take my time and have the child repeat things, and that way they are able to know how to write on their own. You want to have a strong writer, make sure that they have their own journal. Make sure that they have fun, interactive writing workbooks that they can resort to when it comes to writing. Make sure that they're learning how to write their names and things like that. When it comes to kindergarten, the child wants to leave kindergarten knowing how to write their name and how to write down just basic sight words. So that's something we're really going to be honing in on with our pre-kindergarten year. So after our homeschool block, me and the boys will go outside and we'll get some physical activity in. And this is our PE block where I let them run, play in some soil, take their cars out to play with some balls in the yard, and just release that energy. They've been sitting for a little bit, so I know that they're anxious now to go outside and see what we have ready for them. And usually they'll just burn off some energy before we go back inside and make some lunch. So that is our homeschool block, you guys. It really doesn't take too long, no longer than an hour. We focus on our homeschool core subjects. And the rest of the day really is just play for them. And with their friends, we'll do play dates. Like I said, we'll go on adventures. We spend a lot of time as a family doing hiking, picnics, a lot of outdoor activities, field trips, getting them exposed to seeing new things. So I know there was a couple things that I did not touch on that I probably should have, but these are just some of the things that came to mind. Like I said, during our homeschool block, we go over the 3 core subjects. That's reading, writing, math. Some days we'll do science, but that's mostly what we do every single day for no longer than an hour. And sometimes it can get a little hectic trying to balance teaching both of the children, especially because they're 2 different ages. So some of the activities that I do, I'll make sure that they're friendly for both of them. For example, when we were talking about the bin, the sensory bin for our 1-year-old, I'll have our 4-year-old go ahead and color sort the beans and things like that. So this was just a sneak peek into how we do homeschooling. It can get a little hectic, it can get a little overwhelming, but I encourage you that if this is something that you really want to do, continue doing it, get better at it, and give yourself grace. Take it slow, but also be proactive, be productive. Start to form you guys' homeschool routine, your block, your homeschool block. This is an interrupted block, no music, no TV, no anything, just attention. Focusing you and the child, one-on-one attention. And that can be hard to do, especially because we too are also into our electronics, into our works, and into our phones, that sometimes we don't really give our children that one-on-one connection, eye contact for, over just a minute or 2 throughout the day. So it's very important that there's times throughout the day, and I prefer early in the mornings. Right after we do our breakfast, we jump right into our routine. That way it's kind of like over and done with, and we have the rest of the day to play, to explore, and do the things that they actually like to do. Not to say that they don't like to do the curriculum, but it is work. It's work for me as a teacher, as a mother, and it's work for them having to listen. Sometimes it's hard for them. This is not an easy job to do. It can be very overwhelming, especially if you're anything like me. I don't put labels on myself, but I do feel like I have a bit of ADHD, just the way that I go about life. Things can get a lot for me mentally and sensory. Like just hearing too many loud things can overwhelm me. Taking them out can be a little overwhelming for me. So, you just gotta find your flow, right? And I encourage you, develop a strong morning routine for you and your children, okay? When my children wake up, and this is not every day, I'm trying something new here, so we can do this together. But when my children wake up, they see me ready for the day. And they know not to play with me because I'm ready for the day. They don't see me, and I'm waking up with crust in my eyes, and no. They see me looking as a teacher would coming to a job. And you have to look at this as a job. Get dressed, get prepared for your day, brush your teeth, wash your face, put on you a little lipstick, do your hair. Okay, make yourself presentable, make yourself feel good. We don't have a lot of time in the mornings to get ourselves together, but 5-10 minutes really go a long way, especially if you're a mother, especially if you're a woman who, does have children. It's a lot. Younger children, you have no time for yourself. So you want to make sure that you're getting up before your kids are up, pouring you some tea, getting you a little lip gloss, or whatever you do to make yourself feel beautiful. Do your skincare before you get thrown into the thick of it. Because showing up prepared with your armor and your uniform on helps you do your job better. So I really hope that you guys have enjoyed my video. I hope that you learned something and that something stood out to you that you were able to take from the video. I pray that this video has inspired you to continue along your homeschool journey. And if you guys have any questions, suggestions on future videos and things, please feel free to let me know. So until next time, family, I will see you on the next video. Shalom.